babes. Tonight we learned that family group chats and American Idol finales have exactly one thing in common.
Oh, they have so much in common.
Right, but mainly that absolutely everyone thinks their opinion matters, and literally nobody is listening to reason.
It is a lawless wasteland out there, truly. Just an unprecedented amount of chaos, a disturbing volume of confetti, and an absolute surplus of delusion.
Welcome back to the Snark side. We are so glad to have you back with us, Snark Squad.
We really are.
Because we are radiating that completely chaotic Tuesday night energy today. Honestly, we need a safe space to emotionally and analytically unpack whatever it was we just witnessed on television.
We survived a 3-hour marathon masquerading as a singing competition. I am still vibrating with residual anxiety, to be honest.
I am in the mess with you, babes. We all are. And to navigate this absolute mess, the White Peach Sangria is officially back on deck.
Thank God. It was a physiological necessity at this point.
Honestly, this drink absolutely set the mood for the show tonight. Just poured over ice, the condensation dripping down the glass that just fixes things.
It does take the edge off.
But wait, let's unpack the psychology of this for a second, because I need to know why white peach flavors inherently feel so luxurious.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Like, regular peach is fine. It's a fruit stand on the side of the highway. But white peach, suddenly I'm in a matching linen, set on a balcony in the Amalfi Coast, silently judging people.
Right. It comes down to the sociology of luxury branding, I think, and perceived scarcity.
Oh, absolutely.
Because regular peaches are just ubiquitous, right? They are the baseline. But the modifier, white, in the culinary world, like white asparagus, white strawberries, it implies this delicate, refined mutation.
Yes. It signals a sophisticated palate.
Which is incredibly ironic, obviously, given that we are drinking it out of giant stemless glasses while aggressively yelling at our televisions.
Literally screaming at the screen. But the true intersection here is how alcohol, specifically a fruity communal drink like sangria, fundamentally alters the reality TV viewing experience.
It chemically lubricates your empathy receptors.
Yes. Is it the fruity drinks that make us overly invested in the lives of strangers on TV? Because I was sitting there, halfway through my second glass, literally weeping over a stranger's hometown visit.
You were fully crying.
I was acting like I had personally birthed these contestants. I felt their joy in my actual soul.
Well, reality television is engineered to do that, down to the frame rate and the underlying musical score, right? It manufactures parasocial relationships.
It really does.
So when you introduce sangria, you are essentially lowering your prefrontal cortex's ability to logically distance itself from the screen. The emotional stakes just catapult into your living room.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because my emotional reality has been under attack all day. Because, babes, your family group chat has been going absolutely insane all afternoon.
A relentless vibrating terror in the pocket of my scrubs.
We know it. You know it. It's a universal truth of a Tuesday.
It is a psychological pressure cooker.
Set the scene for everyone right now. We were both at work earlier today, both at our respective dental offices.
Trying to survive.
Different clinics, but the exact same struggle. Trying to maintain a sterile, professional environment, handing over suction tubes, calculating the exact angle of a biting X-ray.
Smiling at people while our hands are literally inside their mouths.
Yes. And meanwhile, the group chat would not stop buzzing.
It is the juxtaposition of highly structured clinical work against the absolute unstructured data of a family text thread.
It is so jarring.
You are trying to maintain medical precision, and your phone is just having a seizure because Aunt Susan has discovered how to use GIFs.
Oh my gosh, the GIFs.
And Uncle Gary is forwarding a heavily compressed meme from, like, 2014.
It's the relatives oversharing deeply personal medical details right next to a recipe for potato salad. Like, why is that in the same thread?
It is absolute madness.
Or someone sending a random 3-minute voice note. Why are you speaking into the void, Uncle Gary? Send a text like a civilized human.
Nobody has 3 minutes of uninterrupted silence to listen to you ramble about the line at the post office.
No, but
The voice note is the ultimate act of conversational narcissism. It demands synchronous attention in an asynchronous medium.
wow, that is perfectly said. But the true psychological warfare is the arguing.
Oh, people arguing passionately about absolutely nothing.
Yes, I get so emotionally activated by it. A full-blown war over whether or not it's supposed to rain on Thursday.
It is exhausting.
I am sitting there hiding in the supply closet for 30 seconds trying to secretly read messages between patients. And I see the little gray typing bubble pop up from my cousin.
The dreaded bubble.
It stays there for 5 agonizing minutes. I'm thinking, oh my God, someone is in the hospital. The house burned down. Drama has occurred.
Your heart rate spikes.
And then the message finally comes through, and it just says, okay, it is emotional damage.
It triggers the fight or flight response for absolutely no payoff, which is exactly why I'm constantly one minor inconvenience away from permanently muting everyone by default.
You threaten to do this every week.
Yeah. I mean it, though. I look at the group chat the way I look at a complex root canal. I'll deal with it if I absolutely have to, but I really would rather not.
Fair enough.
We evolved to handle the social dynamics of a small village, not a persistent, digitized stream of consciousness from 20 different relatives simultaneously.
Because honestly, babes, we thought our families were chaotic. But the way the Snark Squad has been showing up lately in our inbox,
Unbelievable.
top-tier mess. You guys are outdoing yourselves.
The complete lack of boundaries is genuinely inspiring. We asked for your messy stories, and you delivered a masterclass in questionable decision-making.
So before we spiral into the 3-hour finale recap, we have to read a few of these listener submissions.
Yeah, let's play.
We're going to look at these situations and decide, was the listener shady, snarky, or just plain stupid?
Let's open the vault. Hit me with the first one.
Okay, this first one comes from a listener who says, my ex broke up with me via text after 2 years together. I still had a key to his apartment. I didn't break anything, but I went in while he was at work and carefully poured ultrafine crafting glitter into every single air vent in his car and directly onto the blades of his ceiling fan. Summer is coming.
The delayed gratification of this is chilling.
I know. So where do we land? Shady, snarky, or stupid?
Well, we have to evaluate the physics of ultrafine crafting glitter.
Oh, please do.
It operates almost like a fluid dynamic. It possesses an electrostatic charge that binds it to fabrics, plastics, and human skin on a molecular level.
It never goes away.
It is nearly impossible to eradicate. I'm going to have to label this as incredibly shady, leaning heavily towards the territory of a criminal mastermind.
It really is evil genius level.
It's premeditated. It is ambient punishment. He's going to turn on his AC in July, and suddenly his Honda Civic is going to look like a hyper-pop music video.
Yes. And I completely validate this choice. I think it's snarky.
You would.
It's petty relationship revenge at its absolute finest. Look at the context here. He ended a 2-year relationship over a text message.
That is cowardice, yes.
He completely avoided the emotional labor of a face-to-face conversation. So you didn't destroy property. You didn't key his car. You just created a deeply persistent inconvenience that will remind him of his cowardice for the next decade.
I validate the emotional release of the act.
I romanticize this level of petty.
But practically speaking, you have committed breaking and entering. The psychological satisfaction is high, but the legal liability makes it fundamentally risky.
Okay, true, but still iconic.
Let's pivot to the second submission. This is a classic case of coworker chaos.
Oh, I love coworker drama. Read it.
A coworker keeps stealing my designated coffee creamer from the communal fridge. After leaving 3 polite sticky notes, I replaced my vanilla almond creamer with breast milk that my sister gave me. The coworker drank it for a week before I casually mentioned it in the break room. She threw up.
Stop it right now. Oh my God, I am physically cringing.
Let's analyze the mechanics of this retaliation. Is it shady, snarky, or stupid?
Babes, that is undeniably stupid. That is a biological hazard.
It is highly problematic.
That is HR coming down to your desk with a cardboard box and an escort to the elevator. I mean, the absolute chaotic villain era revenge of it all is a tiny bit iconic, but you cannot feed people bodily fluids without their consent.
It crosses a massive legal and ethical boundary, yes. The implicit social contract of a communal workplace refrigerator is already so fragile.
It hangs by a thread.
We evolved to feel a profound disgust response to biological fluids out of context. It's a survival mechanism to prevent disease.
Which makes sense.
By weaponizing that evolutionary response, you cross the line from workplace boundary enforcement into biological warfare. It is deeply stupid.
Yes, and think of the fallout. You have to look this woman in the eye every time you make copies now.
Although, from a purely behavioral conditioning standpoint, the efficiency of the lesson is undeniable.
Well, yeah, she traumatized.
I guarantee she will never touch a single item on that fridge shelf again. But the risk of termination far outweighs the victory. Let's look at the final submission.
Hit me. This one is pure, unadulterated family drama.
The best kind.
My brother broke up with his fiancée 6 months ago. It was mutual, but messy. I was really close with her. My wedding is next month, and I secretly invited the ex-fiancé. I just told my brother today, and told him his new girlfriend of 3 weeks is not invited because of budget constraints. The family group chat is currently in flames.
Oh, wow. You woke up and chose absolute violence on your own wedding day.
It is an act of total mutually assured destruction.
Truly.
I think this is shady. Like, you are prioritizing a past friendship over your actual brother's current peace of mind.
Without a doubt.
And using the fake budget constraints excuse to exclude the new girlfriend of 3 weeks. That just twists the knife. You know exactly what you are doing.
What fascinates me here is the sheer logistical stupidity of the timing.
Right. Why a month before?
A wedding is an exercise in performative family theater. You have carefully curated an environment, and by dropping this bomb a mere 30 days before the event, you've just guaranteed that the primary conversation at your reception will not be about your beautiful dress.
Nope. Nobody cares about the floral arrangements now.
It will be entirely focused on the palpable, vibrating tension at table 4. You brought the group chat chaos directly into your physical space.
You literally invited the drama to the open bar.
It's undeniably stupid. You compromised your own multi-$1,000 event just to make a point.
Yes, but I live for the mess. I love that the Snark squad is out here making these deeply questionable decisions and trusting us with them.
We appreciate the trust and the content.
And honestly, your point about stupid decisions that compromise an entire massive event is the perfect seamless transition.
Oh, I see where we're going.
Because if we want to talk about stupid choices that fundamentally broke an entire viewing experience, we have to talk about the voting public and the network mechanics during tonight's season 24 finale.
A devastatingly accurate pivot. Because we need to dissect the 3-hour reality television marathon we just endured.
Oh, let's get all the way into it. The season 24 grand finale. The exhaustion, the exhilaration.
Mostly just the sheer bone-deep exhaustion.
3 hours of live television. I sat down on my couch as a vibrant, youthful woman, and I stood up feeling like I had aged a decade.
The duration itself is a psychological tactic. 3 hours is not a celebration, it is an endurance test.
It really is.
Networks do this to maximize ad revenue and trap the viewing audience in a sunk cost fallacy. You've watched 2 hours. You can't possibly turn it off before the confetti drops.
They know we are weak.
But before we even get to the vocal performances, we have to talk about the fundamental structural changes this season. Because it provides the blueprint for the complete internet meltdown we witnessed tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
First, they eliminated the traveling auditions.
Right. Everything started in Nashville. They funneled everyone into one city right from the jump.
Which removes the classic hero's journey narrative of the show. We no longer see the regional flavor, the kid from a tiny town standing in a stadium line in the rain.
I missed that so much.
It homogenized the aesthetic from day one. But the far more egregious change was the introduction of the most unhinged, frictionless social media voting system in the history of reality television.
Yes. And we need to break down exactly how wild this was. Instead of just calling a phone number from your landline or sending a standard text message, people could cast up to 10 votes per contestant across multiple platforms simultaneously.
It is mathematically absurd.
We are talking Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, SMS text message, and the official website.
Which means one highly motivated individual sitting on their couch could effortlessly cast 50 votes for a single person in a matter of minutes.
Too much power for one person.
Let's analyze the mechanics of this. When you gamify the voting across platforms that are already designed to trigger dopamine loops like TikTok and Instagram, you fundamentally break the core premise of a singing competition. It stops being about vocal evaluation and instantly mutates into a raw algorithm battle.
Wait, explain the algorithm side of it, because I think a lot of people just assume a vote is a vote.
Well, it's about user interface and demographic behavior. TikTok's algorithm is a rapid-fire discovery engine. It pushes content to the For You page based on watch time and emotional resonance.
Right, the viral moments.
Exactly. It favors quick, viral moments or highly personal, vulnerable storytelling. Facebook, conversely, relies on demographic clustering. It groups like-minded individuals, often older demographics, into echo chambers.
The Facebook moms.
Precisely. By allowing 10 votes per platform, the network handed the keys to the kingdom directly to the Facebook moms and the TikTok algorithm.
It really skewed the results.
The math heavily favors whichever contestant has a demographic with nothing better to do than click digital buttons across 5 different apps for 3 hours straight. It rewards engagement stamina, not pitch accuracy.
Okay, I actually have to push back on this. Because while I agree the math is wild, isn't reality TV supposed to be about who connects with the audience the most?
To a degree, yes.
Like going viral on TikTok with a deeply personal song, Or having Facebook moms rally behind your narrative? Isn't that just the modern version of what we used to do?
How do you mean?
Back in 2005, I was sitting on my bedroom floor, dialing a busy, toll-free number for 3 hours straight to vote for Carrie Underwood. It's the exact same dedication, just using different technology. If you make people feel something profound, they will find a way to vote for you.
It is a fair historical comparison, but the barrier to entry is different.
How so?
Dialing a phone number required a singular focus. Tapping an app 10 times while dual screening requires almost zero cognitive load.
Okay, that's true. It is much easier now.
When you remove the friction of voting, you remove the barrier for evaluating actual talent. It rewards a relatable narrative over a flawless vocal run. When you integrate the voting into platforms designed for passive consumption, you aren't crowning the best singer, you're crowning the best content creator.
Wow. Okay, that hurts, but I see it. Well, let's look at the actual singers who had to survive this digital gauntlet. The final three.
The survivors?
Let's dive into round one of the night. The Alicia Keys magic.
An inspired choice by the producers.
She was incredible.
Having Alicia Keys as a guest mentor actually provided tangible, musically sound feedback, as opposed to the platitudes we often get from guest stars.
She really dug in with them. And first up, our third-place finisher, the absolute queen of the key hive, Keela Richardson.
Yes.
She took on Alicia's song, Unthinkable.
We have to acknowledge the technical failure that occurred during this performance.
Oh my gosh, I was panicking for her.
From an audio engineering perspective, it was a nightmare. There were clear microphone issues at the very beginning. The sound mix was completely off, the frequency seemed to be picking up interference, and it actively threw her pitch for the first few bars.
It was so hard to watch for a second.
In a live finale broadcast, that is catastrophic timing.
Yes. And here's where my mind was blown. The way she recalibrated in real time. Flawless.
It was highly professional.
Most people would completely panic. You can't hear yourself in your in-ear monitors, the mic is cutting in and out, you're on live television for the finale of your life, and she just physically grounded herself, found the pocket of the rhythm, and pushed through. I swooned.
It requires immense breath control and a deep understanding of the song's underlying chord progression to find your pitch when you are effectively singing blind.
Exactly. The powerhouse vocals finally kicked in, the self-empowerment energy was literally radiating off the screen, and can we talk about the stunning red ensemble?
Here's a bold choice.
The color theory of wearing a deep, powerful red while fighting through a technical glitch.
Visually, it was a knockout. Red commands authority, and she needed every ounce of it to overcome the soundboard.
And her fan base. The Key Hive from Pensacola, Florida. The loyalty of her hometown is something you cannot fabricate. She represented them so beautifully, and you could feel Pensacola in every note she hit once she found her footing.
Pensacola absolutely showed up in the metrics tonight, but then the narrative shifts, and we pivot to the runner-up, Jordan McCullough, singing, "If I Ain't Got Ya."
Oh, my word. I need a minute just to process what he did to that stage.
Take your time. From a purely analytical music theory standpoint, this was the pinnacle vocal performance of the entire 3-hour broadcast.
It really was.
His pitch accuracy is mathematically unmatched. It is clinical in its precision, yet deeply, profoundly soulful.
He gave 110% on that stage. He didn't just stand there and sing the song. He orchestrated the entire room with his body.
His spatial awareness was excellent.
The stage presence was insane. You could tell in his eyes that he desperately cared about the placement of every single note.
Yes, and you could clearly see the impact of Alicia Keys' pedagogy during rehearsals. She saw what his instrument was capable of, and she pushed him out of his comfort zone.
She knew exactly what to say to him.
She told him to explore the upper register of his chest voice rather than retreating into falsetto, and he literally took us to church.
His gospel and worship leader roots from Tennessee were on full display. He has this heavenly instrument where he just opens his mouth and the heavens part.
It is effortless.
He doesn't have to force the melisma. The vocal runs just cascade out of him. It's undeniable talent.
It is a profound level of mastery over his own vocal cords. Which brings us, inevitably, to the winner of the season, Hannah Harper.
Our Missouri mom. She sang a bluegrass remix of Alicia's No One, and she dedicated it to her supportive husband.
It was a strategic arrangement.
It was sweet, it was folksy, it was very authentic to who she has been all season.
It was adequately executed. Translating an R&B ballad into a bluegrass arrangement requires shifting the instrumentation heavily toward acoustic strings mandolin, fiddle, which automatically triggers a sense of rural nostalgia.
It definitely felt very cozy.
But this performance raises a critical issue about the psychology of reality TV judging, because I need to aggressively call out the absolute gaslighting we witnessed at the judges' table right after she finished.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this. I was screaming at the TV.
Lionel Richie looks at Hannah dead in the eye and praises her for making the song all about her voice. He practically gives her a standing ovation for keeping the arrangement simple and remaining stationary to focus on vocal purity.
I couldn't believe it.
Need I remind everyone listening that a mere 4 weeks ago, they gave her the exact opposite critique.
Literally the exact opposite.
They explicitly told her she needed to move more, to focus on the physical performance, to not just rely on standing behind a microphone stand.
Yes, they completely contradicted themselves.
It is the psychological equivalent of a driving instructor screaming at you to drive straight into oncoming traffic, and then when you panic and decide to parallel park instead, they clap their hands and say, "Brilliant, I always told you to parallel park."
That is the perfect analogy.
It is narrative manipulation on a national broadcast. They rewrite history to justify whatever narrative serves the finale.
The judges were definitely dealing with some convenient amnesia tonight to fit the winner's edit.
Completely.
But let's move into the absolute emotional manipulation central of the night. Round 2, the hometown glory round.
Grab the tissues and pour more sangria, because the producers pulled every lever of emotional engineering they had.
We started with Keela returning to her students in Pensacola and Babes. When her son Drew stepped up to the microphone as the ultimate hype man, I was a puddle on my living room floor.
It was highly effective television.
I literally had to pause the television and text my own mother. The sociological impact of seeing that mother-son dynamic, seeing a child validate their parents' dream on national television, it was breathtaking.
Very poignant.
And then she comes out on stage, bathed in this gorgeous, literal angelic stage lighting, and sings Whitney Houston's I Love the Lord.
To take on a Whitney Houston gospel arrangement in a finale is a massive, high-risk proposition.
It is terrifying.
Whitney's versions are defined by an expansive vocal range and a specific resonant power. Keela delivered it. It was a masterclass in vocal control, knowing exactly when to utilize dynamic recipient and when to let the power loose.
It was absolute perfection. Then we get Jordan's hometown visit, where he returns to his church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Can we pause the vocal analysis to talk about the family cookout for a second?
I have never been so actively hungry watching reality television in my entire life.
It looked incredible.
The culinary visual appeal of that spread, the ribs, the mac and cheese, the sides. I wanted to jump through the screen and grab a plate.
The semiotics of Southern hospitality are a powerful tool in reality TV. It grounds the contestant. It visually communicates community, warmth, and tradition.
It makes you feel like you're right there with them.
Exactly. It makes the viewer feel like they are being invited into a private family sanctuary. And Jordan transitions seamlessly from that deeply grounding family moment into his performance of Smokey Norfolk's Dear God.
It was so intimate. It felt completely different from the stadium energy of his first song.
It felt like we were intruding on a private, sacred conversation he was having with a higher power.
Yes, that's exactly how it felt.
Technically, his breath support during the quietest moments of that song was flawless. Emotionally, it was devastating.
Absolutely stunning. And then we get Hannah's hometown visit to Willow Springs, Missouri.
And here is where the entire narrative architecture of the finale shifts.
So she goes home to her small town, and immediately she has this impromptu vow renewal with her husband.
Right.
And then during her hometown concert, Joe DiMessina magically surprises her on stage while she's singing Heads Carolina, Tails California.
Wow.
And she follows all of that up on the live show with her original song, Married into This Town.
Okay, I'm going to outline a specific theory here, heavily drawing from the absolute meltdown currently happening on the Reddit timeline.
Oh, bring the Reddit theories.
We need to look at the empirical evidence of production favoritism. Did the network aggressively push Hannah to win through selective editing?
Ooh, lay out the evidence. I am ready for the conspiracy.
Let's examine the disparity. First, screen time and pacing. Hannah's video packages felt significantly longer and more highly produced.
They really did.
The impromptu vow renewal. That is an event perfectly crafted for maximum emotional manipulation of the core demographic.
It guarantees tears.
Second, the celebrity integration. A surprise guest at her hometown concert. Did Jordan get a surprise gospel legend dropping by his family cookout?
Oh, he just got ribs.
Exactly. He got a very nice plate of ribs. Furthermore, look at the judges' reactions in the studio. Carrie Underwood is literally sobbing at the desk.
She was a mess.
The narrative was meticulously tailored, frame by frame, to create a golden child edit that completely overshadowed the raw, undeniable vocal talent of Jordan and Keela. Production knew she was the viral TikTok star. They saw the cross-platform engagement metrics, and they built an impenetrable narrative fortress around her.
Yes, and honestly, I see the Reddit threads, and I totally see the points. The pacing did feel heavily weighted towards Hannah's story. It felt like she was the protagonist and the others were supporting characters.
It was blatant.
But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that her story is the core demographic's absolute dream.
Of course it is.
The stay-at-home mom from a small town who put her life on hold, finally getting a second chance at stardom. Reality TV producers are going to milk that archetype for every single drop of serotonin it can produce.
It is highly efficient storytelling.
It's television gold. You can't blame them for leaning into what works.
It is narrative gold, but it creates a fundamentally uneven playing field for a so-called competition.
That is fair.
Which perfectly transitions us into the absolute fever dream that was the celebrity guest portion of these 3 hours.
A fever dream is the only accurate way to describe it. It was like someone hacked into my Spotify, put it on shuffle, but specifically selected the chaotic playlist I made in 2008 when I didn't know what my personality was yet.
The sheer volume of acts packed into this broadcast was an assault on the senses. It was sensory overload designed to keep viewers from changing the channel during the second hour.
Let's start with the biggest one. Carrie Underwood bringing her entire journey full circle, but reuniting on stage with Mötley Crüe
Yeah, that happened.
to sing Home Sweet Home and Kickstart My Heart.
A surreal, hallucinogenic sentence to say out loud on a Tuesday night. The intersection of 80s glam metal and modern country pop is not something I had on my bingo card.
She lived out her absolute 80s hair metal fantasy, and honestly, good for her. She put on the leather, she teased the hair, she looked incredible.
Visually, it worked.
But then we get complete genre whiplash, because suddenly Luke Bryan is on stage singing his brand new single, Fish Hunt Golf Drink.
A title that sounds like a parody of a country song generated by an AI language model trained exclusively on bumper stickers from a Bass Pro Shop.
Yes, and he performed it with Dwight Yoakam. And then the list of guests just keeps going. Babes, take a deep breath.
Proceed.
We had Brad Paisley, Blues Traveler, Gin Blossoms, Nelly, yes, Nelly was there, Shinedown, Tori Kelly, In Vogue, and former contestants like Cameron Whitcomb and Julian Kale. It was dizzying.
It was an exercise in demographic appeasement, throwing every possible genre at the wall to see what keeps the audience engaged.
They just threw everything at us.
And amidst all this chaotic celebrity integration, we must address a specific sartorial crime that occurred on stage. Clay Aiken was one of the guests.
Oh no, I knew you were going to bring this up.
We need to discuss the suit. I do not know who approved that outfit.
It was pretty bad.
It was an optical illusion of bad tailoring. The proportions were entirely wrong, the color theory actively fought against the stage lighting, and the fabric looked like it was defying the laws of physics in the worst way possible. It was a structural failure. Was the stylist shady, snarky, or stupid?
It was definitely a stupid choice. But honestly, I was too busy romanticizing the nostalgia of the moment to care about the bad tailoring.
You're easily distracted by nostalgia.
Seeing the Season 5 alumni come back, they pulled them from the dancing crossover round last week, having Taylor Hicks, Kelly Pickler, Paris Bennett, Bucky Covington, and Elliot Yaman all standing together again, it fundamentally healed my inner teenager.
I will admit, the visual was striking.
Season 5 was the absolute golden era of this franchise, and having them there just reminded me of why I fell in love with this show in the first place 20 years ago.
It was a highly calculated nostalgia play by the producers. The 20-year cycle of pop culture comfort is a proven psychological phenomenon.
It totally works on me.
Millennials seek comfort in the television of their youth when the modern world feels chaotic. The producers know this, and they weaponized Elliot Yaman to keep you awake.
And I thank them for it.
But eventually, all the nostalgia and all the sangria had to culminate in the final crowning moment.
Moment of truth. The lights go down,
They eliminate Keela first.
which sent an absolute shockwave through the room. The Keyhive was stunned. We were stunned. You could hear a pin drop in the studio.
Statistically, based on the mechanics of vocal performance tonight alone, she should have easily been in the final two.
But she handles it with absolute grace, which is a testament to her character.
Very poised.
Leaving Jordan and Hannah as the final two, Jordan takes the stage for his final moment and sings Bethel Music's Goodness of God. It was powerful, it was resonant, it was exactly the spiritual anchor that his fans wanted from him.
And then Hannah steps up and sings her viral audition original, String Cheese.
The song that started it all. The deeply vulnerable acoustic song about postpartum depression that accidentally got 120 million views on TikTok. Carrie Underwood called it the most relatable song she's ever heard in her life.
And Ryan Seacrest does what he has done for 2 decades. He dims the lights, he pauses for dramatic effect.
And Hannah wins.
Yeah.
The confetti falls from the ceiling. And babes, she was crying so hard, she literally admitted in the post-show interview that she didn't even notice the confetti falling on her head. She was just weeping into her hands.
And what does Jordan do in that moment of defeat?
He acts like the ultimate class act.
Yeah.
He literally walks over, puts his arm around her, and helps her finish singing her own song because she's too choked up to hit the notes. I mean, the sheer character of that man.
Flawless character. Flawless, technically perfect vocals.
Yeah.
And yet he is the runner-up. And this specific outcome, precisely this juxtaposition of technical mastery losing to viral storytelling, is what triggered the absolute undeniable meltdown across social media.
I have never seen the timeline move so fast in my life.
Yeah.
We were refreshing the apps, reading the room from the online fandoms to see the reaction. And people were screaming, full all caps, unhinged screaming, that Jordan was robbed.
It was a unified front of digital outrage. The echo chambers were rapidly forming.
They were writing dissertations.
Viewers were writing multi-paragraph essays breaking down the vocal disparity, comparing Hannah's, and I quote the timeline here, thin, fluttery voice to the absolute powerhouse, resonant vocals of Jordan and Keela.
It was brutal.
But the frustration wasn't just about this isolated season. It was the accumulated exhaustion of the country and contemporary Christian music demographic utterly dominating the voting block year after year.
Yes, but it's the exact same demographic that actually takes the time to show up and vote, babes.
That is a factual statement.
You can't be mad at the players, you have to be mad at the game.
Yeah.
If you want your favorite to win, you have to open the app. But the chaos was so widespread, it literally breached containment into the actual real-world news cycle. And we're just looking at this as a metric of cultural saturation, right? Not endorsing any political views, but Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, actually tweeted her support for Jordan ahead of the finale.
When pop culture achieves terminal velocity and breaches the political sphere, the cultural footprint of the finale was massive. It transcended a simple music show and became a cultural proxy war.
It really did.
People weren't just voting for a singer, they were voting to validate their own cultural preferences.
Okay, but this actually brings me to a thought I had about Hannah winning. Because I see the anger online, and I see your point about technical vocals, but let's unpack the psychology of this.
I am listening.
Reality TV, at its very core, is not a singing recital. It is an exercise in storytelling.
Yeah.
Hannah winning with a song called String Cheese is exactly like walking into a stationery store, feeling completely overwhelmed by life, and suddenly finding that one highly specific greeting card that just breaks you down and makes you cry right there in the aisle.
The greeting card analogy.
It isn't about vocal gymnastics, it's about emotional connection. Millions of people heard a mother singing about a very real, very dark, very isolating struggle, and they felt seen. It's the greeting card effect.
I hear your greeting card analogy, and I appreciate the emotional resonance of it, but I raise you a job interview analogy.
Oh boy, here we go.
Imagine you are the CEO hiring for a highly technical, demanding position, say, lead audio engineer. Candidate A, Jordan, walks into your office. He has 3 PhDs, a flawless resume, he speaks 5 languages, and his presentation is a masterclass in competence and precision. Candidate B, Hannah, walks in. She doesn't have the technical skills, her resume is thin, but she shows you a TikTok she made that got 120 million views, and it makes you feel a warm sense of community inside. And you hire candidate B.
Wow.
As the CEO, you have fundamentally failed your company by refusing to hire the most qualified candidate for the specific role of vocalist.
But the job description isn't technical vocalist. The job description is American Idol. It's literally in the title of the show. An idol is someone people worship or love or desperately connect to on a human level.
An idol should be able to hit the high note over a live band without a microphone issue hiding behind an acoustic bluegrass remix.
Okay. I am taking a massive sip of sangria. We are cooling down. The sangria is doing its job, lubricating the empathy.
Good idea.
Because before we completely dissolve a years-long friendship over reality TV voting demographics, we need to hand out our own highly specific awards for the night.
A necessary de-escalation. Let's start by evaluating main character performance energy.
The concept is simple. Snark Squad. Which contestant or guest truly acted like this 3-hour finale belonged entirely to them? Who had that unapologetic, delusionally confident, center-of-the-universe energy?
For me, analyzing the stage dynamics, it has to be Jordan.
He is a great choice.
He commanded that physical space with a sheer vocal dominance that made every single song feel like it was a stop on his own personal sold-out stadium tour. He wasn't competing for votes. He was hosting a masterclass in vocal pedagogy and graciously allowing us to watch. He had the energy of someone who already knew he was a star, regardless of whether or not the confetti fell on him.
I respect the analysis, but I have a total dark horse for main character energy. I'm giving it to Keela's son, Drew.
An excellent, unexpected choice.
Right. That kid stole the entire broadcast. He was the ultimate hype man. He possessed the camera awareness of a seasoned reality television veteran.
He was a natural.
He was finding the red light on the lens. He was hyping his mom to the crowd. He was providing perfectly timed reaction shots for the editors. He knew his angles. Drew genuinely thought the 3 hours were a documentary about his life, and I loved every single second of it.
He was highly produced, naturally, but he executed his role flawlessly. But if we are talking about true, unadulterated main character delusion, we absolutely cannot ignore Carrie Underwood.
Oh, absolutely not.
Using a nationally televised finale to hijack the demographic and live out her 80s hair metal fantasies with Motley Crue. She put on the leather, she got the hair volume up to 11, and she effectively said, "This is my concert now, the rest of you are my opening acts."
She really did.
It was aggressive, it was slightly out of place contextually, and it was entirely main character behavior.
She really did just rent out the stage for her own personal karaoke dream.
Iconic.
Okay, this actually leads perfectly into our next psychological evaluation, the Family Group Chat Awards.
We are projecting our own digital trauma onto the cast. This is my favorite kind of analysis.
Exactly. The concept is we assign each family member archetype from our own messy group chats to a contestant or judge. I'll start us off. Who embodies the oversharing aunt who constantly posts compressed minion memes?
It is Luke Bryan.
Without hesitation.
It is unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, Luke Bryan. The man literally got on a stage and sang a song called Fish Hunt Golf Drink. That is not a song, that is a bumper sticker on a 2012 pickup truck.
It literally is.
That is the exact textual equivalent of a minion meme about needing a cold beer on a Friday afternoon. He is the aunt who responds to a serious, heartfelt family medical update with a low-resolution gif of a dancing cat.
It's so accurate it physically hurts me. Okay, who is the supportive but deeply confusing grandpa?
Lionel Richie.
100% Lionel.
He provides these baffling, rambling critiques where he starts talking about his time touring in the Commodores, takes a sharp left turn into an extended metaphor about planting a garden, and ends by pointing at the contestant and telling them they are a shining star.
You never know where the sentence is going.
You have absolutely no logical idea what he just said. The syntax makes no sense, but you feel vaguely, warmly comforted by his presence.
You just smile, nod, and say thank you to Grandpa Lionel. Okay, who is the crying sibling making everything about them?
You already know the answer to this. Based on the metric volume of tears alone, it's Carrie Underwood.
Babes. She cried so much this season, she needed an IV drip to stay hydrated.
She is the sibling who, when you announce at dinner that you are engaged, immediately bursts into hysterical tears because it reminds her of a sad romantic comedy she watched last week, and suddenly the entire family is rushing over to comfort her instead of congratulating you.
I will defend Carrie. She is just highly empathetic. Her mirror neurons are firing constantly. She is the emotional bestie of the judges panel.
She is a hydro pump of tears. And finally, who represents the golden child who can do absolutely no wrong?
Is Hannah Harper.
The network production team represents the parents, and Hannah is the golden child. Jordan and Keela are the older siblings who did all the chores, got straight A's in AP classes, and went to bed on time for 18 years.
So true.
But Hannah drew a slightly out-of-proportion picture of a string cheese on the fridge, and the parents immediately bought her a brand new car.
I am screaming, but it's fundamentally true. She had the golden child edit locked in from day one. You just can't fight the favorite when the parents control the narrative.
Precisely. Let's shift our analytical lens to the network decisions themselves. Shady, snarky, or stupid. Celebrity edition. We are taking our opening game and applying it to the corporate and creative decisions made tonight.
Okay, first up on the chopping block, the social media voting format allowing 10 votes per platform.
Shady. Completely systematically shady.
You think so?
It is production deliberately manipulating the outcome by engineering a frictionless system that they know perfectly well, will heavily favor a specific type of viral, algorithm-friendly contestant. They disguised it in the press releases as increasing viewer engagement. But it was a highly calculated move to crown the TikTok algorithm and ensure virality for the network.
You really think it was intentional malice?
Yeah.
I honestly think it was just stupid.
Yeah.
I think some out-of-touch executive in a boardroom was looking at a chart and said, how do we get the Gen Z demographic numbers up? Let's make them vote on TikTok.
That is possible.
Entirely, without realizing they were just handing the election over to the millennial moms on Facebook who actually possess the sustained stamina to sit there and click a button 50 times. It completely backfired on their original intent.
That is a fair sociological counterpoint.
Damn.
Corporate stupidity very often masquerades as malice in television production. Okay, next. The complete lack of official winners' singles this year. The finalists had to sing their audition songs or covers instead of an original network-produced coronation track.
This is unequivocally stupid. Just
Yeah.
plain, bafflingly stupid. The winner's single is the financial and cultural cornerstone of the entire franchise.
It really is.
You think of Kelly Clarkson's A Moment Like This or Carrie Underwood's Inside Your Heaven. Those songs defined pop culture moments. How do you not invest the capital to produce an original sweeping track for the finale?
It is a massive failure of music industry economics and A&R foresight. It fundamentally robs the winner of their immediate commercial momentum.
Exactly.
You crown Hannah on national television, millions of people are watching, and her immediate commercial release is what? An acoustic song about string cheese that has already been freely available on the internet for 4 months. It shows a complete lack of strategic planning by the record label attached to the show. It is an embarrassing oversight. Stupid.
It makes absolutely no sense from a business perspective. But speaking of how music actually functions, let's move to our final thought of the night. What song would save you?
Building off the heavy emotional weight of the contestants, utilizing specific songs to heal their hometown crowds tonight.
Exactly. The contestants use these massive, emotionally healing songs to ground themselves. So we're asking, if you just survived a terrible, chaotic 12-hour shift at the dental clinic, the patients were awful, the doctor was stressed, the family group chat was exploding with drama, what is the one specific song guaranteed to emotionally heal you in your car on the drive home?
See, my psychological approach to emotional healing is not to wallow in sadness. It is to conquer the environment.
Okay, conquer.
I don't need a soft acoustic guitar to validate my pain. I need aggressive, chaotic energy to aggressively cleanse the palate of the day's irritations. So my song is Vroom Vroom by Charlie XCX.
Oh my God. You are unhinged.
It is hyperpop, it is avant-garde, it is abrasive. The synthesized bass is practically a physical assault on the eardrums. I roll the windows up, I blast it until the rearview mirror physically shakes, and I actively romanticize my own anger.
I am terrified of you.
The sheer sonic aggression of the track allows me to transform from a stressed healthcare worker into a highly stylized villain in a cyberpunk movie. It is an incredibly therapeutic transfer of energy. What about you?
See, I am the exact opposite. I need to feel every single feeling until my emotional reservoir is completely empty. So my deeply earnest, slightly embarrassing choice is The Climb by Miley Cyrus.
Wow, we are going way back in the cultural timeline.
We are going all the way back to the Hannah Montana movie. Because, babes, sometimes the minor inconveniences I'm facing are the climb.
You are so dramatic.
Sometimes I just need to sit in the driver's seat of my car, grip the steering wheel until my knuckles are white, and belt out there's always going to be another mountain with real tears streaming down my face. It validates the struggle. It tells me it's okay to be exhausted.
It is a Hallmark greeting card translated into an audio format.
It absolutely is. And that ties exactly back to the entire psychology of why people get so heavily, irrationally invested in these contestants. Music acts as emotional support content.
It does.
Whether you need the abrasive hyperpop of Charlie XCX to make you feel powerful, or the earnestness of Miley Cyrus to make you feel understood, or Jordan McCullough singing a soaring gospel track to make you feel spiritually grounded, or Hannah Harper singing about the dark realities of postpartum depression to make you feel seen. We are all just using these singers as avatars to regulate our own messy, chaotic lives.
Which brings our analysis full circle. We project our own internal chaos, our unfulfilled desires, and our need for validation directly onto the television screen, and then we argue passionately about it in the family group chat. Everyone thinks their opinion matters because to them, their own emotional connection is the only objective truth.
Exactly. It's not just a television show, it's our shared Tuesday night therapy session. Speaking of which, Snark Squad, thank you so much for spending part of your Tuesday night spiraling with us and surviving this 3-hour reality TV marathon. We literally couldn't do this without you.
We genuinely appreciate your continued dedication to the mess.
Now, we need to hear from you directly. Hit the comments right now. Who did you actually want to win? Were you Team Hannah, part of the fiercely loyal Keyhive, or Team Jordan?
We also require an immediate status update on the health of your family group chats. Are you currently speaking to your aunts? Have you permanently muted notifications? Let us know the level of hostility.
And finally, were you weeping during the confetti drop, or were you rolling your eyes so hard you saw your own brain? Be completely honest.
Remind them of the digital housekeeping.
Yes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please, keep sending in those incredibly messy personal stories for the shady, snarky, or stupid segment. You are providing a vital, entertaining service to our mental health.
Until next week, protect your peace and maybe put the group chat on Do Not Disturb.
Stay loud, stay emotional.
And we will see you on the Snark side.